Hello and welcome back to One-on-One Sports on the Web. I'm Alex Sharon, joined by two rookies today to start off their season on One-on-One Sports. Guys, the NBA season also starts today, so keeping in that, we're going to talk a little bit about the league and the greatest players who ever played there. Starting off with the point guard position, Matt, who is the best point guard, bar none, in the NBA?
You can't argue against Magic Johnson. 5 championships, 3 MVPs, been to 9 finals. You can't argue against him. He's a big man, 6'10", knows how to move the ball. In his day, he was one of the best ball-moving big men who played point guard you'll ever see. In fact, probably ever in the NBA. That's why he's #1 point guard.
Brett?
I beg to differ. I would actually say that the big O, Oscar Robertson, is the best point guard of all time. And that is because he's the only player in league history to average a triple-double for a full season. Also, he averaged 25.7 points per game, which is more than Magic Johnson. And also, he played on teams that didn't have the talent that Magic Johnson had.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree with Brett on this one, actually. Oscar never had anyone around him, and the one year that he did, he won the championship finally.
On the same note, I have to say, though, that the point of the game is not numbers. If it was a numbers game, anyone, anyone, but any stud player could shoot 40 points a game if they wanted to. It's about winning a championship, and that's what Magic Johnson did during his career.
It's about winning a championship, but the guy that I would put in is John Stockton. He never won, but he had the stats to go along there to prove that he was the best. Moving on, though, best shooting guard of all time. I have a feeling that this might not take quite as long. Brett?
Easily, it's Jordan. He's the greatest player of all time. Everyone knows it. It's hard to debate that. Maybe someone comes along in the future, surpasses him, but I don't see that happening.
Okay, enough gushing on Jordan. We know that he's great. Matt?
I have to agree with Jordan, 100%. But right behind him, you have to keep in mind, he's slithering right behind him right now is the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Give him a few years, and he will have, Lord knows how many rings. He has, 5 right now? And he is still on a great Lakers team. He has still a lot of years left to play. Give him a few years, especially if he beats the Boston Celtics and their loaded roster now, the big 3 with the Heat, and he gets a few more rings, he could be right on Jordan's tail.
He's on his tail, not quite there yet, but we seem to be in consensus here on Jordan. Let's move on. Small forward is an interesting position. There's not really ever been a defined role for it. We know kind of what they do, but Matt, who's the best small forward of all time?
I'm going to have to go with Larry Bird. Again, a championship winner, an MVP for the league 3 times, and a big-time All-Star. He was a face of the Boston franchise while he played there and is still one of the legends, if not the greatest legend in the Boston area, which is really hard to come by. He had great numbers throughout his career, 24 points a game, 6 assists, 10 boards, 3-time three-point shootout champion. Not to mention he did it with a big-time cockiness and told everyone, I'm going to win. He did it. He follows through. He's a big-time player.
I have to agree. The Hick from French Lick has to be the best small forward of all time. Earlier when you mentioned Magic Johnson, the first other person that comes to mind as his rival is, of course, Larry Bird. And there's a reason for that. They were both amazing players.
They were both great players. Bird was clearly the leader of that great Celtics team. We're going to go to another position that's kind of interesting, the power forward spot. It's kind of evolved weird along the years, and the way it's played now is kind of different than it used to be. Brett, why don't you start?
I've got the mailman, Karl Malone. Not necessarily the tallest power forward, but certainly a powerful man, averaging 25 points per game over the course of his career, over 10 rebounds, and also the only 2 seasons that he didn't average over 20 points were his first season and his last season, and that shows consistency. I have to go with the mailman.
I have to argue against you. I think Tim Duncan, and again, like Kobe, his career is not over. He saw his time to add to already his illustrious career. He, again, 4 championships for San Antonio, delivered the first championship to San Antonio, 2-time MVP. He was a Rookie of the Year. Tim Duncan is a leader. And not unlike a lot of these other studs in the NBA, Tim Duncan won his championships without a lot of players around him. Sure, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili are good players, but they are not.
See, that's kind of interesting because David Robinson was on that first San Antonio team, and he was a superstar in himself. I'm surprised that you'd say that he's not around superstars when he had that great center there helping him.
I will say yes. All right, David Robinson, first season there. Yes, I will concede that David Robinson was there, but again, that was Tim Duncan's rookie year, and he's still Rookie of the Year. I mean, he added to the team. He didn't. I mean, as much as Robinson was there, yes. But
Okay,
then
okay,
years
alright.
to come,
All right, I see what you're saying. I would have gone with KG, but that's just me. On to the last position, the center, the biggest of the bad boys. Who you got, Brett?
I've got the Big Dipper, Wilt Chamberlain. Even early in his career, his first game, even though blocks weren't recorded, it's been said that he had 17 blocks in his first NBA game. Also, he averaged 30 points. That's second all time. And he also averaged 22 rebounds, which is first all time over the course of his career. So I've got to go with Wilt the Stilt.
All right, Matt, what do you got to say about that?
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Brett. Wilt Chamberlain is by far, in my opinion, the best center in the NBA all of history. You can't argue with a guy who scores 100 points in a game, who averages 50 points in a season. Wilt Chamberlain, no doubt.
Really, no Bill Russell from either of you? I mean, he's got more championships than a lot of other players. He's a great guy.
He did score well. He did win championships, but he didn't rebound as well. And also, he had better players around him.
All right, okay, I can see that. Well, quick question. Will LeBron ever be in this category?
He's got to win a championship.
He has to win a lot of championships, not just one. He has to win quite a few. I think LeBron can be, though.
All right, that sounds good. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. We're going to keep debating this, but for everyone out there, why don't you go check out our other webcast? Greg Bazowski is going to preview the NBA season, and Billy O'Riordan is going to talk about pros versus college. For One-on-One Sports, I'm Alex Sharon, joined by Brett Batchelder and Matt Dowdle. And we just want to know, whose side are you on?